2020 on the hybrid understood that the programming actually said that committee rooms should be checked whether they can operate, because the hybrid is not only for members, it's also for people we invite, officials and so on, because it also helps in that process. It saves time, it saves costs. So, and unfortunately, the banning of the National Assembly. I can hear you.
Yes, we were not hearing you. Oh, I don't know whether it's me, but I wasn't hearing you at all.
I was saying the way you have actually summarized was correct, because the National Assembly Programming Committee had agreed that committee rooms of parliament, both in the NCOP and in the NA, should be availed for possibly committees to meet, because the numbers are small. But hybrid was going to be continued, not only for members, it was also going to be continued for officials of government. Sometimes an official is in the Eastern Cape, he can connect to a committee using Zoom, so that they are able to do their work. They don't come to parliament and then sometimes they are returned, and it's a waste of resources, because if the things they are presenting are not what the committee want and they are not physically there, they should then be able to amend what they are saying and still link up whoever we invite, South Africans and so on. So the Zoom, the hybrid method of working was agreed that it will work that way. Secondly, is that the banning of parliament, of the National Assembly part of parliament, because parliament is both NCOP and the NA, has actually complicated our situation in terms of space, both office space and also workspaces for us to actually gather in committee form and in plenary form. Hence the arrangements which have been made for SONA and for the debate and so on. The NAPC then said that there are still spaces in parliament, like the Good Hope Parliament, where we can still continue on a hybrid. The difficulty is that the bulk of members don't have office space in the National Assembly. That is the governing party. There's also the NFP, there's Good, and so on, who don't have workspace. And the parliamentary team was then looking at workspaces so that we expand. We've always been interested in expanding, bearing the issue of space. I don't think the rule which says workplaces, it means that there's no physical distancing, we must ignore it. We are not sure who is vaccinated and not. And by the way, Parliament has not taken a view on that matter of unvaccinated people without medical reasons, who just refuse to vaccinate without any medical reasons. So there are a number of issues which the institution has to look at. Now, if we say we all come, majority of us, it's not SONA, where are people going to work from in terms of office space? And we have not taken a decision. The decision and the amendment we still have, the dispensation we still have, is that the seat of parliament is in Cape Town. And that's the status quo. So my view is that what you have, your summary, is actually, because we still have work in progress. Because there are other issues which have not been resolved. We can't just simply decide, no, we'll all come back. People can be on passages and corridors of the National Assembly. I don't agree with that, but your summary is actually correct.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Honorable members, is there anybody else who's still on the line?
My hand was after Honorable Papo, Deputy Speaker.
Please go ahead.
Just very briefly on my side. Look, I think Honorable Papo raises an important point about the fact that we should not necessarily throw the baby with the bathwater in terms of hybrid strategies. I think the COVID-19 pandemic has given us an opportunity to innovate so that we may be able to use some cost-cutting and cost-saving measures to be able to do the work of Parliament. But, Deputy Speaker, I think it is important to ask the NAPC for a solid timeline on the alternative venues, because it's quite important that if we're asking the country to go back to work, that we show leadership and we go back to work in earnest as well. And number two, we mustn't let this fire, Deputy Speaker, already dampen the work of Parliament further than COVID-19 has. And I think we should have the resolve to say that we want to make sure that Parliament is seen to be open and is entirely open for business, so that we can get to the business of the day of serving South Africans. But I don't think that that necessarily means that hybrid mechanisms can't be used to save costs and to be a lot more efficient. Thanks. But a timeline is important, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thanks.
Yes, programming, Honourable Gwahube, will receive information about what needs to happen once the decisions in the executive leadership of Parliament, given all the issues that you have also yourself raised, have been considered. And I do want to suggest that we shouldn't assume that the public is not itself clear that because of what has happened, the foundations for working in hybrid form has not produced possibilities that we were not able to, or were moving towards very slowly at the pace of a village cow, as I would like to say. So the assumption that people think we are working only when we are all together in the same place in the old way is an incorrect assumption. I do think that we must continue to recognize that institutions, including in the private sector, are adopting in a way that enables us to be more available to the people better than we were without the hybrid system of working together and so on. So we can do both. This is why even legislatively, some of the communication that otherwise would have been manual has translated to being legal and appropriate on cyberspace and therefore appropriate elsewhere as well. I do hear you, members. We are considering this, and as I said at the beginning, that as soon as we have enough evidence to suggest further changes, this will be in the programming committee and other committees of Parliament will be informed about those decisions, so that we are mindful of the wishes of members, committees, and the environment in which we are operating to take advantage of opportunities, but also to work better, innovatively and creatively, as some of you are already saying. Honorable members, I think who else was going to come back? I'd like us to conclude this thing if there are no announcements.
Deputy Speaker, allow me if...
Yes, yes, Acting Secretary.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker, and good morning, honorable members. My point is just on Dr. Swart's question about the lockup. I do want to confirm that. The request came and we sent it to National Treasury. We have given them space for a physical lockup, media lockup, which is in the Max Building, M46, Max Building 314, Max Building 514, and 515. We will provide those details to everybody. Yeah.
We don't just give those details like you are doing now. I think it was adequate that the decision that it's physical would have been adequate. Those who are involved would then be informed. Thank you very much, nevertheless.
Thanks.
Honorable members.
Deputy Speaker.
I can't hear that.
Deputy Speaker, it's Honorable Hlangweni.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think also just pertaining to the lockup, we must also give a clear indication to National Treasury that because part of the lockup is for members of the Finance Committee and the members of the Appropriations Committee to get the budget speech before it's actually read in the House. And there were some couple of times that we didn't get the budget speech in the lockup venues or in the lockup situation. So that needs to be clear that we need to have that, because that is part of why we are having the lockup. And if that doesn't happen, then why are we still having a lockup if they don't do as the rules and the rules permit. And then secondly, Deputy Speaker, I want to agree on the member of the DA that we need to have clear time frames as to say when is Parliament opening in full swing for members of Parliament. Of course, work needs to be done in research. We are not myopic about it, Mr. Papo. Work research needs to be done in terms of when our Parliament going back in full swing. Like it or not, we need to get to Parliament, and work needs to be done in full swing from Parliament. And then, so we need clear time frames and as to see when are we opening Parliament in full swing. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Okay. Honorable members, thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, before you close, an announcement.
Yes,
Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I will not repeat what you have already summarized nicely with regard to the full attendance in Parliament. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I want to propose to announce that as the Chief Whips Forum, we should have a meeting today, either today or tomorrow morning, today at 5 o'clock, so that we can finalize the seating arrangements for SONA.
Okay.
If it's tomorrow, it should be at 8:30 before committee starts. Then if it's today in the afternoon, we'll communicate in the Chief Whips Forum group that we have this meeting. The Chief Whips will respond to that so that we finalize the sitting arrangement. Thank you very much.
Okay. The time of the meeting and place of meeting will be communicated through your usual means. Thank you very much. Honorable members, thank you very much. We will respond to the issues that has been raised here and emphasize others that perhaps because of time we can't go into again, but we appreciate the consensus and the way in which the issues have been raised. We will do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Deputy Speaker, some of us have been in Parliament since June 2020. We're not going to be frog march to Parliament.
Relax, chill. And Kangwini must come full time to Parliament.
They've been sitting in their bunkers. They want to now frog march us. We've been there.
Chill. Take a chill pill, Papa. Take a chill